In the top stories, Tourism Minister the Honourable Marsha Henderson meets with taxi operators to review the cruise season and discuss the year ahead. UN Chief Antonio Guterres visited Haiti on Tuesday as gang violence continues to displace thousands of people. And Taiwan says China is increasing efforts to limit its participation in international events. Hello and welcome to the ZIZ Midday Major Newscast. Today is Wednesday, the 17th of June 2026. I'm Jason Davis. Nationally, Tourism Minister the Honourable Marsha Henderson met with taxi operators this week as part of ongoing consultations on the performance of the cruise tourism sector. The meeting formed part of a series of stakeholder engagements focusing on reviewing the 2025 and 2026 cruise season. Discussions centered on recent industry performance and preparations for future cruise arrivals. Officials also discussed proposals for a new rainforest tour guide policy, which is expected to support conservation efforts and tour operations. The meeting further examined opportunities to improve the visitor experience, along with updates on home porting initiatives and other developments within the tourism sector. The ministry said it will continue to engage taxi operators and other industry stakeholders as part of its planning for future cruise seasons. As the Federation continues to fight prolonged drought conditions, the government says its water strategy is focused on expanding supply, improving distribution, and developing new sources to strengthen long-term water security. Speaking during his ministry's progress report, Public Utilities Minister the Honourable Conris Maynard said the discussion of water infrastructure must extend beyond storage capacity to include the availability of reliable sources of water.
Right now, St. Kitts has approximately 8 million gallons worth of storage, thereabout. We need about 7 million gallons of water per day. So let's say we had that hundreds of millions of dollars to build 21 million gallons of storage and direct all the water to that tank or those tanks, 21 million gallons. How many days of water would we have? 3. 21 million gallons worth of storage. Something we will not get to because the industry standard is you need to have maybe 2 days or even 3 days worth of supply. But if we were to build 21 million gallons of storage and we filled it in December and February and March from the water that we had, the excess, the guts running, it would last us 3 days.
Minister Maynard said the government's approach has included major investments in desalination, groundwater development, and other projects designed to increase water production. He noted that those investments have helped maintain supplies despite the current drought.
And imagine in the last 3 months, we had 2 months, we barely had any rain, but that could still produce about 2 million gallons per day. That's 60 million gallons a month. That's 120 million gallons in 2 months and no rainfall. That is source. But obviously, that can't go on forever because that source came from the accumulation of water over many, many years that is under our feet. So
The Labour administration has also prioritized several other projects aimed at expanding the water network. These include the procurement of a treatment facility for wells with high mineral content, continued drilling operations in Sadlers, St. Paul's and Sandy Point, and the development of new water main connections to move desalinated water from Basse-Terre to communities experiencing shortages. In other national news, the road to this year's Miss St. Kitts and Nevis Queen pageant got underway over the weekend as the National Carnival Committee held its first audition for young women hoping to take part in the prestigious competition. On Saturday, Deputy Chairman of the National Carnival Committee, Clement Ogaro, spoke with ZIZ News about the pageant's continued importance to Sugar Mass.
We think that this is very important, considering the fact that St. Kitts once a regional power when it comes to pageantry. And lately, we haven't been even involved in some of the pageants. So This year we're making a concerted effort to ensure that our girls are prepared and ready because we're heading back to the world of regional and international pageantry for Miss St. Kitts.
Ogaro said the Queen Show remains one of the highlight events of Sugar Mass and continues to attract strong interest from both residents and visitors.
But there's certain aspects of Sugar Mass that has changed. As you can tell, we now have a lot of people playing Juve, playing Grand Parade and stuff like that. But this is one of the core elements of the national carnival itself. People expect for us to have a Miss St. Kitts Nevis at the end of the carnival for her to reign over the carnival. So this is a very important aspect of the national calendar of events. And so we're very happy to be, preparing ourselves as early as June for this event.
He also stressed that the competition is more than a beauty pageant, with a strong focus on personal development and intellectual growth.
This is not just a beauty contest. And we've made the point, of course, that that's not what it is. That's not only what it is. Yes, the beauty and the pageantry and stuff is effective, but we're training a young lady. We're training a young lady for the world. So we're talking about stuff like scholarships that we've given out before and other tangible prizes so that it can help them to develop a career in the future. That's definitely what we're looking forward to.
Deputy Chairman of the National Carnival Committee, Clement Ogaro. Moving now to news on the regional scene. United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres visited Haiti on Tuesday as the country continues to grapple with escalating gang violence and a growing humanitarian crisis. Guterres made the one-day visit to Port-au-Prince as new UN figures show more than 2,300 people have been killed so far this year. The UN also reported that around 100 people have been kidnapped, while 1.5 million people have been displaced from their homes. The visit came just days after more than 30 people were killed, injured, or reported missing in violence in the Cité Soleil community. During his visit, Guterres toured the headquarters of Haiti's new International Gang Suppression Force, which will begin operations shortly. The force will work alongside Haiti's police and armed forces to combat gangs that now control up to 70% of Port-au-Prince. Officials hope the new security force will help restore stability as Haiti continues to face one of its worst security crises in recent years. The Jamaican government is in talks with the United States on a proposed agreement that would allow certain deported third country nationals to transit through the island. National Security Minister Dr. Horace Chang said the proposed arrangement would function as a transit mechanism and not a program for permanent resettlement. Under the proposal, Jamaican could receive up to 25 eligible non-Jamaican migrants every 2 weeks. However, transfers would be suspended if the number of migrants on the island exceeded 10 within a 30-day period. Minister Chang denied reports that the agreement would allow thousands of transfers without limit. The proposed arrangement would exclude unaccompanied minors as well as persons with criminal records. Chang added that Jamaica will retain the right to refuse entry in specific cases, while the United States would be responsible for any costs associated with rerouting individuals who are not accepted. Officials say the discussions are being informed by similar arrangements implemented by countries including Belize and Dominica. Internationally, Taiwan has accused China of increasing efforts to isolate the island internationally after Taiwanese delegates were detained and denied access to a global conference in Kenya. Taiwan's Foreign Minister Lin Chia-lung said attempts by Beijing to pressure other countries into restricting Taiwan's participation in international events have become, quote, the new normal, end quote. The comments follow an incident at the Our Ocean Conference in Mombasa, where two members of Taiwan's delegation were reportedly denied entry because their Taiwanese passports were not recognized. Taiwan's foreign ministry said the delegates were detained for more than 24 hours and had their passports and mobile phones confiscated before being allowed to leave the country. The rest of the Taiwanese delegation subsequently withdrew from the conference. Kenyan officials defended the decision, saying the country recognizes only one China under its foreign policy. Taiwan, however, included Kenya of improperly expanding its interpretation of the one China policy under pressure from Beijing. The incident is the latest in a series of disputes as China steps up efforts to limit Taiwan's participation in international affairs. Still on the international scene, Russian President Vladimir Putin is hosting leaders of the Association of South Asian Nations, or ASEAN, as Moscow moves to strengthen its economic and strategic ties with the regional bloc. The two-day summit opened today and marks the 35th anniversary of relations between Russia and ASEAN. Discussions are focused on expanding trade, investment, and industrial cooperation between Russia and the 11-nation group. The agenda also includes talks on regional and international issues, as well as efforts to deepen political and economic cooperation. In a message to participants at a business forum held alongside the summit, Putin said he believes stronger commercial ties will create new opportunities for both Russia and ASEAN member states. The meeting comes as several countries in the region continue to explore energy cooperation with Moscow amid high global fuel prices. ASEAN's members include Indonesia, Malaysia, the Philippines, Singapore, Thailand, Vietnam, and several other Southeast Asian nations. And now for a look at the weather. Today's temperatures will reach a high of 31 degrees Celsius or 88 degrees Fahrenheit, with an overnight low of 25 degrees Celsius or 77 degrees Fahrenheit. A weak trough is moving across the area, but limited moisture will keep conditions relatively stable throughout the rest of the day. Expect partly cloudy and slightly hazy skies with a 20% or slight chance of a brief shower. Tonight, skies will remain partly cloudy and slightly hazy. However, moisture and instability associated with an approaching tropical wave may increase the chance of showers. As a result, there is a moderate chance of passing showers overnight. Winds will be from the east at 13 to 30 kilometers per hour or 8 to 18 miles per hour. Seas will be moderate with waves ranging from 1 to 1.5 meters or 3 to 5 feet. Sunset today is at 6:47 p.m. Sunrise tomorrow will be at 5:37 a.m. And that brings us to the end of the ZIZ Midday Major Newscast. Join us this evening for these stories and more. Thank you for tuning in. I'm Jason Davis.